Now it's time to invite Alžběta Krausová. Alžběta Krausová is from the Institute of State of Law of the Czech Academy of Sciences. She was introduced in the previous panel session because she is a member of many scientific boards and grants and so on and so on. And now it's time for that nice last talk of this session.
Thank you so much for the introduction and for inviting me on this short notice. I'm trying to, yes, here we go. I actually squeezed 1.5 hour lecture into 20 minutes lecture, and since we are 4 minutes in the coffee break, I squeeze it into like 5 to 8 minutes. So you are going to get really hardcore knowledge. And since we were supposed to have a lecture on machine consciousness, I picked a topic that actually kind of follows up, because personalization is kind of, AI-based personalization is a technology that when we anthropomorphize it, then we feel like the machines are really conscious of not only themselves, but ourselves, what we are doing and who we are, and we might feel like they know us better than we know ourselves. That, of course, has very interesting social and legal aspects that I will try to briefly introduce you within this short lecture. So why is actually personalization so important? Why do I focus on that? When I looked at this phenomena, I actually realized that AI is a game changer in this, because with AI, we can consider everyone important. We can get to know everyone very intimately. We can track them, monitor them, create a profile of their behavior, profile of their subconscious mind, I even dare to say, and we can provide them personalized services, offer them specialized discounts, etc., etc. So it also raises the questions about what is fair, what is just. Can we have the same justice for everyone, or do we tailor justice as well? Should we provide the same price to everybody, or should we tailor the prices? What really is fair and what is not? Now, when we deploy AI-based personalization, and I will probably not go into the details what kind of algorithms we have, what types of behavior is monitored, and what types and levels of personalization we can achieve, but in fact, we all are currently living in algorithmically governed environment. We move from one environment to another, and the services get tailored to our own liking, hopefully liking. Now, let me make a distinction between personalization and customization. Customization is something that we choose ourselves, consciously, with awareness, that we, for instance, tell some service, I like to read news about sports, about fashion, about politics, etc. Personalized algorithm find out what you like, and they give it to you. You don't do anything. And the result of this is that we, well, not a result, but maybe also a cause, depending how we look at it, we live in the world of information asymmetry, meaning that the algorithms and different services that actually are very much interconnected. If sometimes you look at your cookies and you look at the list of vendors who try to place those little files into your computer, then you find out that they are all interconnected and they share the data about you, and you actually don't have real power over your data. And those interconnected companies, they know so much about you. Now, since we started to explore and examine this phenomena, we did a pilot empirical study, and we created 2 groups, one of laymen and one of experts, and we asked them about how do they perceive personalization. And it was very interesting. A colleague of mine, Dr. Volek, who led this pilot study, categorized it into 3 sections. First of them was knowledge. What is the level of knowledge of users about personalization? They said they actually know there is some personalization, it probably monitors them, but they don't trust it and they don't know how it's working. That's why, to make their life easier, they just click consent, and they don't really consent, but they just click for the comfort of it. They also, with regard to perception of the benefits and drawbacks, they said, we are aware of the fact that if I get personalized news, I don't need to read about cars, I don't need to read about that, I don't need to click through, I get the content delivered. But at the same time, there are drawbacks, because my freedom to get information is limited, I am probably manipulated, I'm served the political news, and I'm closed within a bubble. So they were aware about it. And they themselves had some suggestions how to improve on the side of companies so they would feel more in control. So for instance, they require more explanation. They require the possibility to have comprehensive setting on how to tweak the algorithm, the personalized algorithm themselves. So this is how they perceive, and now what, as in global, the personalization has impact on society. I try to divide it, those impacts on like positive and negative sides. First of them is like, yeah, we are very efficient in allocating resources, in providing better services, in connecting the people that are supposed to be connected, and provide different ways how to build relationships. On the other hand, there are impacts that might be perceived as negative, such as power asymmetry. Somebody is defining how am I going to behave in the future by defining my options. Also, it's not anymore maybe people who are defining it, it's algorithms, it's unliving entities who are just telling me, you behave like this, you will like this. There are also privacy concerns about risks, about vulnerability of a person. And the last impact, which might be negative and might be not, is how people are reacting to those algorithms. They adapt to them in an unpredictable way, which might be difficult for companies, such as outsmarting the algorithms. One of my friends, and I really like it, he is outsmarting the algorithms by putting things in the basket and waiting for the algorithm to catch up and think, oh, he wants to buy it, but he needs some incentive. Let's give him transportation for free. Now, let's check the time. 2 minutes and I'm done. Now, what is the relationship with personalization and law? The first thing that comes to my mind, and I suppose to everyone, is the basic underlying principle, and that is personal autonomy, meaning exercising our own will and having the walls of others setting limitations to our will. So within all legal areas, we need to think of this principle. There is a vast regulation, and as I told you, 1.5 hours is not enough to describe the GDPR, the marketing regulation, audiovisual services, journalism, etc., etc., etc. And also with personalization, we, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are going to question what is the notion of justice, whether we individualize justice, personalize it or not. Now, and that's the last slide, what is the impact of personalization on law? What this phenomena will cause in the legal scholarship and in the legal sphere? We heard here from Professor Céline, and I can't remember the rest of the names, of Renard, never mind. We heard from you a great presentation on what the AI Act will want the companies to do. And actually, if there will be like a significant decision-making in high-risk systems, we will have to make various documents, and we will need to consider the impact on human rights and on the rights of people. So in fact, the personalization might be one of the technologies regulated by this, if in a certain sphere. So the law actually will force us, the personalization and AI technologies force us to make the law, and the law will force us to think thoroughly about the consequences of our behavior. We will really need to make the risk impact assessment to see where we want to go with the technology. So the last question from my side is, should we look at AI regulation as something that is going to hinder the AI development, like putting too much of regulation, or something that will, on the other hand, incentivize the AI development in a good way, promoting a good technology? And I leave the answer to you. Thank you for your attention.